Sovereignty and self-abandon, what have they got in common? What connects them? This is what I want to talk about today. And because also we're in the USA, for those of us who are in the USA or kind of involved in people and places to do with the USA, then that's also because this weekend is Independence Day weekend, right? So that's all about that, celebrating the independence of the colonies, the former colonies, into an independent state out of the British Crown, well, allegedly, and freedom, right? Independence, no representation without, no taxation without representation and all that. So, but what I want to really talk about is sovereignty, and that inner freedom and freedom from constrictions that are imposed upon us, and that is also about stepping out and stepping up, and also, being of service and following your bliss, following our bliss. And what holds us back is, well, can be self-abandon. Okay, so I first came across this word last year, and I was super intrigued, and I started really kind of drilling down, tuning into it, and I found that actually it was very empowering to think around what self-abandon means and what it is, and my own personal behaviors and tendencies to abandon myself, my true self. This is very much linked with self-sabotage, which I work with. I help people with that, letting go of self-sabotage, because it's often the number one thing that holds us back from being all we can be, from changing our careers, from creating a business, from opening up to spirit, from accessing and activating the multidimensional, from truth, from happiness, from all those things that we desire. Actually, everything that we truly desire that is aligned with our soul and our highest frequency. So let's just take a minute here. And oh yeah, by the way, if you're on the live, please hashtag live. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay. It does really help so people see this, and it gets shown in their feeds. No obligation, no, you're not a bad person if you don't do it, but giving is receiving as well. So yeah, let's just take a moment to just tune in and feel into our bodies, and just, I invite you to just close your eyes for a second and just tune in and go, okay, I'm here. How am I present right now? What is showing up for me in my field, in my body, in my emotions? Just kind of doing a scan, an inner temperature check. Jodie's just mentioned about self-abandon and self-sabotage and freedom and sovereignty. How do I feel about all of that? Is it triggering something within me? Do I feel lighter? Do I feel heavier? And so then, we're cultivating this awareness. So just take a deep breath in, and another breath out. Yes, amazing. So, my question really for you is, how can you let go of self-abandon? First, you need to identify what your self-abandons are. Now, typically, self-abandons can show up in all kinds of ways, like not having boundaries. So what that can look like is, I abandon myself, and I let people in, and I don't put up some kind of line where I'm like, no, I can't do that, or no, that's not okay, your behavior is not okay, that toxic behavior is not okay. It could be, for example, taking drugs, drinking, smoking, sex addiction, porn addiction, internet addiction, gambling, overspending, saving, amassing lots of money and wealth and not doing anything with it, like putting it towards your growth, to your happiness, your fulfillment, your healing, becoming whole, not tolerating the fragmented reality and moving towards the unified consciousness and unified field. Other forms of self-abandon could be not washing yourself, low self-hygiene, exactly, overeating, undereating, going for sugar, staying in all day, not going out for nature, to be with the elements and the earth, spending too much time on your phone, any suggestions? There's more, there's plenty more, there's so many more. So ways I self-abandon. Let's get down to the. Let's get real. Ways that I self-abandon. Overeating. Not massively. Obviously, I don't have a weight problem or anything like that. But I'm honest with myself, and I notice it, and I see it. I see it as a pattern. And that can be eating late at night as well. Not telling people how I really feel about them, which then robbing them the knowledge of the reality of truth. Distracting myself from my business. Feeling rejected and wallowing in rejection when someone says no to me, for example, for coaching or for healing or some kind of ascension support. I'm human too, right? Spending time on projects that aren't aligned with who I really am. Avoiding projects that are aligned with who I really am, but shape-shift my sense of self to a point that it's uncomfortable. And so there's a stretching going on, and within that stretching I feel uncomfortable and it feels dangerous, ego annihilating, kind of dangerous, or old structures, ancestral pattern annihilating, dangerous, and therefore triggered, and therefore I don't do it. Starting things and not finishing them. God, I could name 100 things like that. Partying, classic form for myself of self-abandon. Not abandoning myself. I mean, I actually made a business out of it. I was so into it. That not to say there's anything wrong with partying. The question is, if you go and party and that's to the detriment of other aspects of your life, especially around your growth, your emotional health, your self-love, spiritual practices, showing up for yourself and for your business and for your life and for your family and for your partner and for your relationships and for your kids. Other forms, other ways I self-abandon. Come on, Jody, think, dig. This is the big reveal here. Quite an edge. Overspending. Simple. Yeah, next training, next course, next masterclass, next mentorship. Yeah. But, we're all a work in progress. So that is where I am with my own self-sabotage and self-abandon. There's probably, again, plenty more even for myself. Maybe I'm censoring right now because it's like this is out on the interwebs. But yeah, you get the picture, right? So also, also what I'm doing is I'm modeling bravery and courage right now by doing it myself with you, and so hopefully that gives you strength. And yeah, and so the other side of this, what I'm linking this with is independence, right? And independence and sovereignty. So as I said, we're on this independence weekend for people in the US of A, and it's very obviously a big thing, right? It's a big thing. It's like independence from the Crown of Britain, being a colony, being subservient, and going, hey, no, it's not okay, it's enough, like putting a boundary up. No, that's what happened, right? That's ultimately what happened. Forgotten the word, the terminology, but people who, colonials, I don't know, people who were living in the colonies said, no more, Britain, Crown of Britain, no more. We do not accept this unfair terms, unfair treatment, taxation without representation, and all these other things that were irking these people. So they said no, and they said no, and they said no, and said no, to the point where they had to bear arms because, for whatever reasons that I'm not well versed in that history, but eventually they fought battles and they fought a war over several years, and finally it was like, okay, they did it, and they said no, and they formed their own thing, kind of independent. 100 years, within 100 years, they became a superpower contender, and within 150 years, they became a superpower. And yeah, right. So of course, it's just an example of this, but hey, look what happens when you put up boundaries and you become self-reliant. And you say, no more, I will not be exploited. Okay, so relating this back to self-abandon, how does it look like in your life when you self-abandon, and how does that relate to your independence and your power? All right, so ultimately this is about power. All right, owning your power, stepping into your power. What does that look like? All right, and I know this can be scary to think about these things. It can be scary. You're like, power, But it's just, yeah, it's actually self-love, and it's self-care. Owning your power, stepping into your power, taking your power back is self-love and self-care, actually. Charging money for your services, asking for what is true value for you, for your services, for what you do, for how you show up in the world, is taking your power back, is owning who you are, owning your power, how you impact and affect others, for example. Asking for a raise, same thing. Forming your own company, creating your foundation, your charity, if you want to do that kind of good work in the world. Creating that masterpiece, sitting in the studio and working on your songs, making that art piece, writing that book, all owning your power and showing up. And it all grates against the self-concept, the limited self-concept, the limited small I, that is trying to keep you small and protected, because in childhood you've had to be like that, right? So, but it no longer serves. And so that's where all the self-sabotage and self-abandon will come in, is connected with that, keeping you safe and keeping you small, okay? Because, all of this empowerment and this stepping out and being visible, and here I am and here's my boundary, it creates friction. It can create friction, right? And so difficulty, right? Challenging is challenging, and so it can feel easier, the path of least resistance, to do the self-abandon thing, the drink, the alcohol, the drugs, the smoking, the pot, the sex addiction, the porn addiction, the internet addiction, the gambling addiction, the having no boundaries, the workaholism, another big one. Another ism. Find one, maybe put one in the comments. So yeah, it's endless. And so how do we stop the cycle? We show up for self. We show up for our truth, what we really know to be true, however small that voice is. And we say yes to expansion, and we say yes to ourselves. We say yes to our power and our independence, and we say no to anything that is stopping us from experiencing any relationships that do not support that, any work that does not support that, any philosophy that does not support that, and any behaviors that do not support that. Really, let's get down to brass tacks here. Any personal behaviors that do not, any patterns that do not support that, we say no more. And we go yes to what is self-loving, self-caring, self-nurturing. And that is not having a tub of ice cream, right? That is not being pampered at the spa. I mean, being pampered at going for a spa day could be an aspect of your self-nurture, right? If you've got everything else in place. But there's so much before the getting pampered at the spa that needs to happen for true self-love and self-nurture and self-care and self-respect, which is really seeing yourself and owning your power, right? Which is doing your mindset work, getting help, getting support for your energetics, for your mindset, getting accountability for what you're doing and what you want to create in the world and live, how you want to show up truly in the world with your business, with your spiritual entrepreneurship, with your artistry, with your creativity, with your business ideas, with the family that you want to create, with the projects that you want to collaborate with or co-create. And so that looks like actually spending time with self and making goals, making outcomes, and having accountability to get there. Whether that's community, mentorship, or coaching, or something else. Showing up for your own healing process, looking at your shadows, looking at your toxic behaviors, feeling your emotions, meditating, journaling, moving your body, getting into your body, getting out in nature. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say around all of this. Weaving this wonderful web of understanding around self-abandon and sovereignty for this Independence weekend. And anyone in the world can celebrate independence and sovereignty and look into what that is. It doesn't have to be an American. And so, yes. So also for sovereignty and for independence, and to mark this, I am offering an Independence weekend, Independence Day offer. I'm offering an offer. So, and that is for a session with me to map out your blueprint for your next 6 months of your life. So stepping into your power, into your highest self, and your highest frequency, and your highest timeline. Okay? So I am doing an offer for this, and I'm actually making my session half price. Okay, this is a blueprint session. Yes, and if you are ready to let go of self-sabotage and self-abandon, then I'm here to help you with that. So great, you know, if you want to ask me about coaching or my programs, wonderful, let's chat, you know, let's talk. I am here to serve and to help. Yes, I can't help everyone. No, you may not be a fit for me. I may not be a fit for you. There's a lot of things, right? But then we have to have a conversation about that to figure out what is right, you know? And what is aligned, and what is a match, a frequency match, what is an energy match. So maybe that's coming on a retreat with me in 12 months' time. You know, maybe you have a big following and a big audience or something, and maybe we want to collaborate together, creating more magic in the world. You know, many different options there. So yes, just putting those things out there, and I wish you absolute happiness and fulfillment in this time. And yes, get at me if you want to know more about the offer, the half price, half off offer for your mapping out your blueprint for the next 6 months, for stepping into your power and your highest frequency timeline. It feels very exciting even just saying that, like, whoa, helping more people in alignment. Yeah. So yes, and anything else, you know, you want to chat about, you know, any programs or anything I'm doing, retreats that I'm cooking up, then let me know. You can put hashtag chat in the chat. You can DM me directly. But do it, you know, don't think about it, just actually do it, because that's procrastination, and that's actually self-abandon if we just think about it. Oh, I've done that so much in the past. Like, oh, I want to contact that person, and it's like 3 years later, I still haven't contacted them, still haven't messaged them, still haven't, you know, and you know, oh, he'll be too expensive for me, I won't be able to do it. You never know until you actually, you know, actually do the thing, right? So this is about doing the thing. And yeah, all right. Sending you love. Take care. Know that you are love itself, in fact. Bye for now.